Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. My apologies for not getting to this sooner. I've had a lot of things going on in my life, and, there's been some issues with regards to getting videos recorded. So I've just finally got to the point where I've felt good enough about doing something. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. We're going to be talking about all of the news and changes to Apocalypse and the updates to the new upcoming Pestilence Scourge Saga chapters and all the other ones and things like that. There were updates this morning, this afternoon. It was maybe posted like a couple hours ago before this recording. And I'm kind of glad I waited to do a video to now because there's been some really needed clarification about what we're going to need to do to get Apocalypse unlocked. So if you're ready to talk about this and you're ready to get started, then let's boil things down. So things started here. This was actually two to 3 hours ago, posted by Cerebro. This was a clarification post on Reddit related to the blog post that was posted yesterday regarding the Sagas and Awakened abilities. I believe this was now, after this, the original blog post, which we'll look at, has been updated for this. So they basically clarified that in order to unlock Apocalypse, you have to complete difficulty 2 of the Apocalypse Saga. Now, that's different than what we thought based on yesterday's information. So, to get a baby Apocalypse, and they tell us what we get, you need to have Gear Tier 16 of the required characters, which is the Horseman teams. And then maybe others, I don't know, they didn't specify. They said Horseman teams and others. ISO Blue level 4, which gets you Apocalypse 5, Yellow 2, Red. So that's basically baby Apocalypse. And then if you want big boy Apocalypse, then you're going to be getting you're going to be needing Gear Tier 17 of all of those characters, ISO Blue 5 to get 7 Yellow 4 Red Apocalypse. So this is huge, actually. I can't understate actually how much of a big deal this is, because there's a significant difference between 20 plus characters at Gear Tier 16 and 20 plus characters at Gear Tier 17. We already kind of have, to some degree, for those who have cleared Dark Dimension 5, I know it's not all the Horseman characters, but you've been able to build 20 characters to Gear Tier 16. So hopefully, probably not very many of these, for those of you who have cleared it now, overlap, other than probably Morgan Le Fay and maybe Rogue. Maybe you use some of the Horseman characters in your Dark Dimension 5 runs, but for those of us who have cleared it now, probably there's not much crossover. But I want to kind of bring us to the blog post for those of you who maybe haven't checked it out yet or haven't been, keeping up to date with the information. So we are getting the new campaigns, the Apocalypse Saga, in the patch 6.3. And we're starting off with Pestilence that we're going to be getting. And they basically said that these chapters are going to be unlocked as soon as the second pass of the event has run, which suggests, and they don't say when, but the Pestilence event second pass should be next patch. Now, it also suggests that this won't unlock and this won't actually be active until after that second pass run. So that's really interesting as far as the timeline goes, I think, because then people were saying, are we going to have Apocalypse by the end of 2022? And I don't think we will, because we have War coming up maybe at 6.4, because we've seen the silhouettes. Don't know if we'll have time to talk about that or not. But that means that War is not going to be until 6.4, which means the second pass of War will be probably 3 months later, which means that second pass of War is going to be in what? I don't even know. November, December. And then we have Death still, right? And so the second pass of Death is going to be what? Into 2023. So when is Apocalypse actually going to be accessible? Probably not until... I'm almost thinking that we're not going to see Apocalypse until the anniversary in 2023. I think that it might actually be that long, unless they push the schedules up so much so that maybe he comes like early 2023, but I don't think we're actually going to see Apocalypse unlocked this year at the rate that we're going. But anyways, there's going to be 5 sagas in total, so there is going to be one for each of the Horsemen, and then there's going to be the final Apocalypse one. They're making this new Epic Campaign category, which is where Dark Dimension is going to get shoved into. and that just is, you know, harder harder stuff, right? And so they outline the requirements very clear. It is really just the Horseman team. So you're going to need Darkhold for the Pestilence Saga. You're going to need Unlimited X-Men, sorry, for the Famine Saga. We're going to need the War team, which is presumably the Gamma team, because we've seen now the silhouettes, which include what seems to be Abomination and Amadeus Cho, and so that's part of some sort of Gamma team, which is going to be the War team. So those are characters you're going to want to build up now or soon, and then the Death Saga for Death, what team that is, right? And so you're going to need all 20 of these characters at gear tier 15 and 16 in order to unlock Apocalypse. Now, we'll talk about why I said gear tier 15. It does say several additional characters, so I'm kind of curious and kind of honing in on that, because I wonder what kind of characters extra that would be. And post your, you know, maybe your guesses in the comments down below. When they say several additional characters, what really does that mean? Does that mean just different traits? Does that mean specific characters? I'm not sure where they're going at this point. But they talk about the different... There's 3 difficulties in the sagas. There's difficulty 1, which requires gear tier 13 of the whole team. 2, which is 15 of the whole team. And 3, which is 17 of the whole team. And you get different rewards depending on which difficulty you do. And of course, you need to unlock... In order to unlock Apocalypse at that difficulty 2 Apocalypse Saga, you need to clear difficulty 2 of all of the other existing the Horseman sagas before you can do that for Apocalypse. So you need gear tier 15 for everybody before you can unlock Baby Apocalypse. So that's really important to know there. And they talk about a lot of stuff here, but then they went back and they updated it here. So what I just showed you in the Reddit post, they did actually go back and clarify this here, exactly what it requires. But while you need to gear tier 15 to do the sagas at difficulty 2, you need gear tier 16 to enter the Apocalypse difficulty 2. So you do need to do the gear tier 15 stuff, but then you need to go one step further and bring all 20 of them to gear tier 16 before you can unlock Baby Apocalypse. Now, for the rewards, of course, you get some like basic stuff on difficulty 1, but difficulty 2 is where you get these new awakened abilities, and those are basically add-ons to the existing Horsemen to synergize them with Apocalypse and the rest of the Horsemen. And then gear tier 17, which is difficulty 3, is where you get their specific Horseman costumes. And now you're probably gonna, because looking back at this, when you do difficulty 3 and get Big Boy Apocalypse, that's when you're going to have the costumes unlocked, because that's gear tier 17. So you're going to be doing difficulty 3 of the Apocalypse event, as well as the difficulty 3 of the individual Horseman events, which give you those costumes, which you'll see down below. Now, you're also going to be getting some blue level 5 ions somewhere. I don't know if this is level 1 or if this, it doesn't say exactly which difficulty you're getting this out of, but the awakened abilities are going to be the first up on difficulty 2, which is going to be the most important thing. And so they showcased here the version for Pestilence and what gets changed for her. So this impacts Morgan Le Fay's special and her passive, and it gives you a new level 8 ability for those skills. This is for the special and the passive, and you're getting the only real change is that you're getting immunity for 1 turn, and then the speed up just gets extended to Apocalypse and Horseman allies. So that's the 4 Horsemen and Apocalypse. Now the passive, and again, the passive really just gets extended to the Horsemen as well. You notice it here. It's not like, I don't think that they're getting any additional, they're not getting additional stuff. It's really the same passive. It's just being extended to the team. So this is the only thing where things are actually changing. I don't believe they get immunity. I mean, let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure that she doesn't currently get immunity after using Time Warp, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not an addition. Maybe it's always there and I'm just stupid. But, maybe it should be here, right? I don't know. I didn't... Oh, no, I'm dumb. I am actually dumb. Okay, so it does say here at level 5 that they get immunity. I didn't know that actually happened. Clearly, the kits are so long these days that I can't even remember what happened. So all of this, take back what I said. Everything is just an extension to Apocalypse and the rest of the Horsemen, and that's really all it's there for, to get these upgrades. And hopefully that we should be able to get that done. Because all you have to do is just clear the event and you're good to go. They're probably just some nodes that you have to do, kind of like a campaign level or maybe like a Dark Dimension level, and they're individual nodes, and you'll clear them and you'll get these rewards, and that's it. It doesn't sound too difficult. The major bottleneck is really getting to that gear. And then there's going to be a cool little costume with difficulty 3, which is the gear tier 17, for once you get Big Boy Apocalypse unlocked. This is the one for Morgan Le Fay. I actually think it's pretty cool, believe it or not. I do like that, but again, we're not going to really, we're not going to really care about that until we get to Gear Tier 17, which is sometime down the line. And then they talked about ISO Blue level 5 coming. The first, the first ways that you're going to get this is going to be through the Horseman Saga. Don't know which difficulty. I'm not sure if it specifically says. It actually comes with, we'll have enough pre-fused crystals. Okay, so specifically this is relating to taking your horseman to level 5, which really means that, going forward, that you should absolutely make a priority of getting your horseman characters to blue 4. That way they can get that blue 5 upgrade when their saga comes out. So that's good to know there, and that's what I will be doing. It actually says fully clearing difficulty 3. Okay, so if you want to do this fully, then you need to clear difficulty 3, which is Gear Tier 17, which of course we are getting next patch in patch 6.3, because we have Doom Raid 3 coming, which is how we're going to start, working towards this. And yes, you'll need these crystals. We do need, if you're just jumping back to this because it's faster, in order to actually just want to remind people that in order to actually unlock Apocalypse, the entire 20 plus characters for the Horsemen and their teams need to be at blue 4. So these are your priorities for your blue level 4 upgrades. Now, I think that we're probably going to see blue 4 ions in Doom Raid 3. That makes sense to me. So I think that's probably where we're going to see the first iteration of those. And so going forward, when you're upgrading your characters to blue 4, really no question about it that it has to go towards the Horseman team. I would start with your Darkhold team and then kind of work your way up, in that way. I have Agatha and Morgan at blue 4, so I think I'll just have to go back and start putting some of those onto my other characters, and rest in peace Scarlet Witch, because now that means I have to gear tier 15, 16 Scarlet Witch, and that's kind of annoying, but that's what it is, isn't it, guys? So, it's really interesting. But I think what this really means, though, is that going forward for the game, going forward for your roster development, I think that's what we really need to talk about, right? And if you look through my roster, you can see that, I only have 2 characters that are from the Horseman characters at Gear Tier 16. I have Morgan Le Fay and Rogue. And so for those of you who haven't started or haven't been making your way through Dark Dimension 5 too much, I think at this stage you might want to consider holding back on your resources and only building Horseman characters or Horseman team related characters, because you're going to need these characters at Gear Tier 16 to unlock Apocalypse. So if you want to double up on the use of your resources and not waste your resources, that's kind of what you're going to have to start considering. And the downside of that to me, and how I feel about that, is that I just don't feel that you don't have choice in your roster upgrades anymore. And maybe Dark Dimension 5 was an illusion of choice, because to some degree a lot of people upgraded the same characters, or a lot of the same characters, give or take. But now there absolutely is no question about this. It's that, for people who haven't started doing Gear Tier 16, it now should be Darkhold, Unlimited X-Men, and the other 2 teams, and that's about it. And that's kind of disappointing, because now there's less flexibility in your building over the next, I want to say 9 months at least. And that puts you in a position where you can't really do much else. For this upcoming Bionic Avengers team, for example, I don't know if I'm going to build them super high. I'm going to build them to the point where I can clear my raid nodes, but beyond that, I don't know if I can't take anyone else that's not a Horseman character to Gear Tier 16, because then I'm thinking in the back of my mind, is that going to slow me down in my progression towards Apocalypse? And it will, right? No doubt about it. And so that's really unfortunate. So now I've started pivoting back to Unlimited X-Men. That's where my gold is going. Even though I have put some gold into the Bionic Avengers right now in anticipation of patch 6.3, I'm also thinking that I need to build up these characters more, because it's a hard requirement. And that's the end of it, right? It's a hard requirement that you need Gear Tier 15 for difficulty 2 of the sagas, Gear Tier 16 to unlock Apocalypse, and which means that these are the only characters we can think about. And that's really disappointing to me. Let me know in the comments down below how you think about this new change. I do appreciate that this is now changed from what we thought, which was requiring Gear Tier 17 to unlock Apocalypse. Now they've made it clear that that's not the case, and difficulty 2 will unlock Apocalypse, which is nice at Gear Tier 16, so you don't need everyone at Gear Tier 17 like people were saying this is the new Dark Dimension 6, and it kind of is to some degree, but you don't need the full Gear Tier 17 on 20 plus characters to just get them unlocked. So that makes it feel a little bit better. But I just don't like where the direction of the game is headed and forcing you to build these characters, because now I can't really gear tier 16 non-horseman characters without feeling that I'm missing out. And so let me know how you feel about all of that in the comments down below. Thanks for watching the video, and of course, until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.